My name is Michael Dana. In 2008, I was diagnosed with a rare brain cancer, and after 6 years, I was cancer-free. But the ordeal left me changed, with a different outlook on life and a new sense of priorities. While still recovering, I earned a degree in economics from UNC Chapel Hill. My studies taught me to analyze data and open my mind to see things differently. I also started formal training in the martial arts to better defend myself and use it as a means of extreme physical therapy. Since then, I've obtained black belts in 3 martial arts. I own and run a martial arts school and have logged over 51 teaching hours. To my friends and family, I'm a simple business owner. But to the martial arts world, I'm something else. I am Sifu Mike, and this is Dragon Theory.
Hey guys, how's it going? So in this episode I'm going to be talking about kind of the order of operations as far as a class is concerned in the rank progression and how you're going about and how you're learning things. Now this is going to be a little bit more geared towards the teacher, alright, the instructor, but you as a student should definitely watch this entire video because you can't accurately defend against something if you don't know what that something is. You can't recognize a thing if you've never seen it before, right? If you don't know anything about it. So this can definitely play into you because you can go to a class and be like, oh, this is complete crap. I know this because this dude said so on YouTube. Right? That happens to me all the time. And I'm like, I want to be that dude. If you're going to make an opinion based on a video you saw on YouTube, I want to be that video. Okay, so watch my video all the way to the end. And actually check out all my videos at tkfmma. Alright, it's YouTube/tkfmma. You can also go to thedragonmethod.com where I've got a whole bunch of videos about just everything. Like how to do martial arts, how to teach martial arts, everything. Martial arts and pop culture, lots of stuff, okay? Definitely go there, sign up for that. In fact, actually, I'm currently running a special right now where I'm giving away a trial membership for a very long amount of time, like a year. Right, so definitely get on board with that because, like, once it's gone, it's gone. I ain't bringing that back, man. But I'm just letting people know about the dragonmethod.com. Anyways, back to this particular video as far as the order of operations is concerned, and what I'm talking about really is basically teaching the hardest thing first. All right, and this is the most common thing, alright? There are some schools that don't do this, but there's enough schools that do this particular action for me to make a video on it, to let you guys know that this is definitely a thing, and it very much goes back to some of my previous videos where I talked about how most martial arts are actually set up like a college, an academic college, right? And anybody who's ever been through college will tell you that the first class, the first 2 years really, is kind of like your freshman weed out, right? Huge amount of, oh, and by the way, if you haven't gone to college yet and you're planning to go to college, go to a 2-year school or a community college, get those first 2 years out and then transfer into the college that you want to do, okay? Because pretty much every single major is going to have the exact same stuff as the basics, so those first 2 years are all the same. But in those big colleges, you're going to be in a class that is really freaking hard because they don't necessarily want you to be there, right? They want to make you work hard and try to shift through the chaff and kind of get the people out who don't want to actually put in the work to be there, right? Because, you know, your incentive is that you are paying to learn. They want you to learn, but they also want you to work very hard. And so you have these freshman weed out classes, right? And I'm not joking about, like, not just being in a room with like 100 other students. I'm talking about being in an auditorium with like 600 other students, right? I went to UNC Chapel Hill, man. I was in a class with 600 other students, right? It's a very, very much a Where's Waldo of like, who's answering this question or whatever like that. And, you know, it's kind of like, the instructor is like that big. He was all at the bottom. Big class, right? So martial art places are structured very much like that, where the first rank or first 2 ranks is incredibly freaking hard, and they do that on purpose. Now some people don't even realize that they are doing this, okay, because it is almost built into their martial art, right? A lot of Asian martial arts are family martial arts, right? A lot of Chinese martial arts and Japanese martial arts, they come from a family system, right? And you can almost kind of think of like having the special family like secret ingredient for a recipe, right? Everyone has the same recipe for, like, let's say lasagna, even though that's not a Chinese thing at all. But I like lasagna. So everyone has lasagna, but certain families have their secret ingredient that makes that lasagna distinctly theirs, right? So martial arts is the same way, in that you have different family systems that have kind of this secret to them that only certain members of the family know this, right? And so they would go about teaching parts of their martial art to everybody, but they wouldn't teach the secrets to everyone. They would only teach it to like select members or members of the family kind of deal, because they wanted to kind of keep it in-house, right? You have that, and that was built in. You see that really more in the Kung Fu forms, right? But it's also there in Japanese martial arts, where guys are literally doing stuff and have no clue what they're doing, right? And what they're doing typically is very difficult, right? So you have that aspect, and I've literally been in a class where the first rank, because I didn't know any better, right? I was doing this form, this thing was really hard, it's very complicated, it had some very advanced moves in it, and then the next rank I had this form that was like maybe half as complicated, didn't have as many forms or moves in it, and I was kind of like, why did we go from here down, right? Most places you get the basics and you work up, right? Everything is just a more complicated version of the basics, right? You can think of like say math, right? Everyone learns basic like addition and subtraction, then they learn like multiplication, and then it progresses from there. They don't start off with like, oh, you don't know anything, fifth grader or first grader or whatever. I don't know when they start math. I'm very terrible with age. So I should know this because I teach kids all the time, but I have no idea what grade they do what at now. I'm that old. So anyways, they don't start them off with like algebra and trigonometry, you know, they start them off with the basics and they work up, and that's how people learn efficiently. They don't necessarily do that in martial arts, right? They start with the hardest thing first, see if you can kind of muscle your way through that, and then they start to ease you into the basics. So it's almost like a complete reverse, teaching the most complicated thing first. And like I said, that is built into a lot of martial arts. They have that in Chinese martial arts. There's also this aspect of, you know, it's really kind of interesting that a lot of people just assume that all the people in martial arts are like the best people known to mankind, right? They're all very altruistic, and every decision they make is for the benefit of their students. That's really not the case. That's not the case. If anything, people are people, right? And it's much easier to assume that a person is selfish than they are altruistic and doing things for the sake of other people, right? So when you have the case of I'm occupying military force, you know, occupying a country that I bombed the living crap out of, 9 times out of 10, the citizens there aren't probably not going to tell you their cultural heritage and tell you everything about it, right? I mean, some of those people are racist against their own race, you know, not just other people, and so it seems very unlikely that they would try to ease you into their martial art, right? This is their martial art. They don't really want you there, so they're going to give you the hardest thing possible and not tell you what you're doing, right? You just got to figure it out, right? And so that's how a lot of martial arts actually started, and then it kind of filtered down because people are like, oh, well, this is the way it's supposed to be done. This is how it's always been done, right? It's not the most efficient way. They never actually, anybody thinks about that. Some do, some don't. Most don't, all right? So you want the most efficient way to learn the skills that you are presented with, all right? So it takes a kind of a knowledge of the entire basics of the system. If you only got a little bit of it, you don't know what is basic, what is advanced, because you only have seen part of it, right? And you literally don't know what you don't know, okay? you don't know how ignorant you can be, or you are. So that's one of the things. So unnecessarily hard and difficult ideas and techniques are thrown at you at the very beginning. So that's one of the things you need to keep in mind. Also, a lot of martial arts have a tendency of not even physically making sure that the students are capable of doing these advanced things when they even get to them, right? Because they're not really focusing on the basics. And in my opinion, it doesn't matter what level of martial art you're at, you can never have enough of the basics. You can always get better at that. The moment you stop trying to get better is the moment you start getting worse, right? So keep that in mind and always keep working. And just know that there may be an easier way to do things, right? That's the whole point of this video, is not actually having to start with the hardest thing first, right? Okay, make it simple, right? Bring them up from there, all right? That's what we do. So, that being said, if you go to thedragonmethod.com, I said this at the very beginning of the video, I'm going to say it again, I got lots of videos that teach you everything, basics, advanced, everything. And I've tried to order them appropriately. And so there's kind of like a theme to it, but all the stuff at that website, thedragonmethod.com. Okay, and I've got, like I said, a free trial membership going on right now, so definitely go and sign up and register and stuff like that. Okay, and check me out on all my social medias, Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, all those stuff. YouTube, obviously. Okay, be sure to like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. Okay, it's YouTube/tkfmma and thedragonmethod.com. Okay, so check back next week as I talk more about stuff. That's what I do. I kind of talk about stuff. Alright, that's always talking to the camera. It gives me something to do, right? Talking to the camera, and hopefully people are watching. People are watching. So, and I thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video. Have a good one.